you join me on this video where I want to talk about all things PVA. I've seen a number of posts recently on social media, and I don't know whether that's from sort of newcomers to the sport, people that aren't just too sure how to use the various different products on the market nowadays. So I want to give you a real quick rundown of all the PVA products on the market and how's the best way to use them in your fishing. PVA Mesh. Featured in my fishing for a number of years now. And PVA mesh systems will come in a tube like so, nice airtight lid. Inside you will get 20 meters of mesh type stocking that's slid up onto a tube, and you'll get sort of plunger inside that will allow you to push down contents through the tube out the other end, ready to be tied off. So I'll show you now a few things that you can use PVA mesh for. Well, here are just 3 examples in which you can fill your PVA mesh with. So in that one, just got a handful of 10mm boilies. I've got, similarly like the PVA tape, I've got 3 15mm boilies in there, similarly, like I say, to the tape, bit like a stringer. And in that one, I've got pellets inside that one. Again, your sort of world is your oyster really when it comes to PVA mesh. As long as your contents are dry, like so, any sort of moisture will start to make that mesh bag start to melt, and before you've even cast out, the contents of your bag will be over your shoulder. There's a couple of ways that you can actually attach PVA mesh to your baited rig. One way is just by threading a baited needle through the mesh bag, like so, hooking it onto the loop of your rig and just gently sliding it down your hook length, down to the hook end, in which you can manipulate the hook inside the bag, like so, in which you'll get a masked hook point ready for when that rig hits the lake bed, the mesh amount, and you've got a nice little bundle of goodies there situated around your hook bait. Or, like I said earlier, I tend to tie off the rig with a bit of PVA tape, and then you have the option to just nick on a little PVA bag like so, and again you can just cast that out. Something like that I tend to use on a cleaner bottom where I know I'm getting a drop, and you know it's not going diving into sort of silt, that sort of thing, or weed. I know that there's nothing there that the hook point can be picked up on. If there was a sort of stodgier bottom or a siltier bottom, then I would certainly go down the line of just tucking the hook point inside the bag just so that it's masked. But this is great for a cleaner bottom where that hook point isn't going to prick anything once it's made its way down to the lake bed. But yeah, a couple of different ways that you can use PVA mesh. Just ensure that the contents are dry contents, and it's certainly a good way of just leaving a nice little parcel of attraction around your hook bait. One last thing I will show you with the PVA mesh is just how to tie it off so that the bags are nice and tight. Again, you don't want the PVA being saggy, flopping around as you're trying to cast it out. So I'll take the tube inside the PVA, drop in your hook bait, and if you just pull the bottom out, you'll see the bottom will just be full of your bait. So what I then tend to do is with one hand pull the mesh down amongst the PVA contents, just so that the mesh is nice and tight. Then with one hand just twist it round, like I say, with one hand just holding onto the top of the bag, so there isn't no movement inside that PVA. Pinch it down with 2 fingers like so, create a loop with your other 2 fingers, just turn my fingers round, slide it through, still holding the PVA bag, slide it right down, allow the loop to come over the top of your fingers, pull it down nice and tight. It is all fingers and thumbs to start with, and it does take a bit of practice, but as long as you're continually holding the top of that PVA bag all the time, just allowing for that loop to come underneath your fingers, you can pull it down nice and compact, nice and tight, and that is rock solid, ready to explode when you cast it out onto your spot. So not only that, I'll just tie off then a secondary knot, just leaving a short gap in between for me to get the scissors, cut between the two knots. That way you've got your bag, and if you just slide the stocking back up the tube, you're ready to go again because the knot's already tied.